Maybe it's about time for all of us to move in different ways out of our comfort zones. I'm grateful to have 15 minutes, which is what we all agreed on, just enough time to share some opening remarks. I returned here to Northern California, where I was about a month ago, in a group leading about this size. I think I might be allergic to this size. I had an incident called global transient amnesia. And at lunchtime, I walked out, and I didn't remember anything that had happened. I lost 10 hours, but I had the gift of being able to return and see that the people had carried on in a beautiful way without me. It was kind of a miracle on some level, and I got to begin again. Memory. Today, I do not want to lose memory of the thoughts and feelings this gathering has already elicited in me. So last night I decided to write them down. I don't usually do that. I don't want to forget them or you. So I'll say again, I consider myself a guest, a visitor. Sometimes I even say I'm a migratory species with ancestral relations in the ocean and from the island of Ireland and the land of Germany. For the longest years in my life, I am blessed to settle in Paya Hunadu, the place where the water flows. As the Paiute people so beautifully named the Owens Valley in the Eastern Sierra. Despite years in international studies and relations, I have learned more about restoring of relations through living deeply into this land, in this valley, from asking permission to walk there, to be in ceremony there, to pray there, to know and feel that the longest walks that I know, forced marches by our troops with the Paiute people, killed many of them, and perhaps the story to be even more known and respected is that the long walk was taken, the survivors made the long walk to come back home to that place that they held and hold as sacred today. We will visit there later today with Walking Water. All of this continues to lead me to examine and redefine pilgrimage, the meaning and use of that word every day, as people are marching towards what we call our country. What is our response to this pilgrimage of men, women, and children, these so-called caravans? People seeking survival and freedom. Many have been building and restoring relations for centuries across a border. Borders most often made in colonial wars. How do we respond? With welcome, as many of our ancestors were greeted with that? With fear? With love? If you are certain that you have the way or the right answer, I just ask for us to continue and walk with the question. And remember an elder Paiute woman that I listened to not long ago, saying that she was for Trump, as she did not want her land taken over yet again. I think I must say right off, as many, if not most of you know or feel, the word pilgrim has some tough history around it. And part of our journey in this lifetime is to own that history, to express deep apologies and offer reparations as part of the healing. A land like most any places we stand today are the ground of our ancestors, the ground of genocide from the earliest pilgrims, from my ancestors and perhaps some of yours. How do we find home, whether our ancestors were here, whether we were forcibly brought here, immigrated, or wandered? I suggest it has something to do with recognizing the sacred journey we are all on. I want to open our day with guiding questions and move with them. Why pilgrimage redefined? Why the different relations many of us have to this word and this way? How do we find a way to walk alone and together today in peaceful ways of respect for all of life? How, where, and when is that possible? If pilgrimage is defined in Webster as a journey to a sacred place, I wonder how and if that is possible and true for us actually every day. I hope this question and many others arrive in our time as we listen to these beautiful souls today share story. We hope as we are visiting questions that the learning and the experiences of the past and the future within our lives will reemerge. So for me, I will say personally, it has always been an experience, pilgrimage, of making a journey both inside and out with a purpose, a prayer, and an intention to see and meet and find the sacred in every person and place we meet. For me, my curiosity was certainly raised as a child, reading and learning of Jesus, walking into the desert to communicate with God, with Spirit, with the divine. That curiosity and that interest continued into 5th grade, where a few of us organized over many months with plans for food and clothing. How long we might be gone, we did not know. We knew that we were going to walk out of our school, to simply disappear and walk out of the school grounds at recess in defiance to our mean teacher. To walk for freedom. Even then, at a young age, we were asking for respect. Even though the journey only lasted 2 hours. That was a long 2 hours. It stands out in my memory as my first pilgrimage. I think about that today as I see many of the children walking towards our border. What they are risking for a life of dignity, for freedom and survival. We were able to turn around and go back after 2 hours and effect a significant change actually in the school that was there looking and waiting for us when we arrived. For us, it was a choice, while for many, it is not. For me, this walk towards something, for something, continued into my teens and 20s, walking for and with, at times, groups of women, 50 in one case, up a 14,000-foot peak, calling attention to our dreams and our needs, asking for a sacred relationship with nature, with the mountain as well as with the men. Women walking a day together from all different countries through the streets of Mexico at the first International Women's Year Conference. Was that a pilgrimage or was it a march? Is there a difference? A difference maybe we want to bridge between what is so-called political and spiritual pilgrimage. I will say it was not until I broke my leg seriously in the 70s, and only after numerous surgeries ending in my inability to walk for most of a year. It was only then that I learned more about pilgrimage being a journey within, one to be taken more slowly, more in silence, on and in the water as well as the land. One experienced through our hearts and minds as well as our bodies. Not long after this slowed down walking way in silence, I met others walking in ceremonial ways. The first time I really heard the word pilgrimage was actually not in reference to Mecca or the Holy Land. It was from a Huichol elder who told us of his people walking each year across high mountain ranges to bring offerings to the ocean. That made sense to me. Later, I joined with Northwest Coast traditional carvers, walking and paddling into the rainforest to meet and begin and build canoes again with the Lacandone people. What a gift we received simply through offering one. I came to know pilgrimages such as these to be service, in service to something greater than ourselves. And since those years, I've been blessed, privileged to journey many places on land and water, alone and with others, in continued exploration of contributing to peaceful culture. With the name of Beyond Boundaries, a non-organization of a unique kind of pilgrim redefined, we have traveled into places of conflict and places of devastation and destruction, sacred places, as well as places of great beauty. The simple, seemingly impossible task to make sacred wherever we are. We have been blessed to respond to many calls, as you have by coming here today. Given the time, how am I doing? Okay.
11:43.
Just enough is my motto. I'll stop soon. Yeah. I'll just skip over that part, actually. For many, it is no choice but to respond to a call, to go. Whether the call is from deep inside the soul or a question of physical survival. Remember the Paiute people that I am blessed to know, who tell their story of being forced out of their homes, and yet against the harshest odds, many found a way to return to their homeland. What is our home? As we listen today, may we visit our places that we call home and explore how we are related to those who came before, those we meet along the trail, and those who will come. One last story I want to offer. Many of us made our way to what is called the Soviet Union years ago, seeking heart-to-heart connections with the people there. This, too, I feel, was a kind of peace pilgrimage. I remember Billy Joel being one such citizen diplomat with us there, when relations between our governments were non-existent, quite different from today. That was a joke. As he sang with all his passion, his audience stared back with little to no response. I remember him stopping the music and shouting, "This is a contact sport. I give, you give." The audience sat stunned, not knowing what to do, having been prevented from any public concerts, expressions of appreciation for years. It was then that he threw himself into their arms, continuing to play music. This is what we are here to do today. And to find the last page. I love being lost. Found again. We are here today to share story, dreams, and prayers. As we throw ourselves into your arms, we hope you will join us in creating beauty in this time. Join us in the listening, in the walk, in the silence, in questions and comments, in just enough time, as much time as discussion allows. Our time is precious, and it is amazing that we can communicate in only a few words, and sometimes no words at all. So I ask you now to please take a moment and turn to the person next to you. Say hello in a way that's true. Perhaps you only need 3 to 5 words to say what brought you here today. You can do it. My theory is that we all need to learn to listen and to do that with the precious moments we have in our world. So please take those moments and say hello.